Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we've decided to make this episode a drinking game. So anytime we say anything negative at all about this film, about each other, about how we all know the story, virginal girl, pure and sweet, trapped in Dave's body, you're going to hear this sound. That sound means we're taking a drink, and we hope you drink along with us.
So, pour yourselves a glass as we talk about a movie, not so much about ballet dancing, but more a horror story about stage mums.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
That's right, folks. We're talking about Black Swan today. The random year generator spun 2010. Last time we went there, we chose Incendies, so we decided to do a comedy this time. Just kidding. So we went through the list of films. We talked about a couple in our franchise face-off. We've also talked about The Social Network in the past, if you want to go through our feed, and we chose Black Swan to give it a visit. I saw this with someone who spent a lot of time in the commercial ballet world, who checks her ballet shoes every time she puts them on in case someone puts glass shards in them. I think she can relate to people in this movie. Very excited to talk about Black Swan. But if you're new to the show, we like to give it a setup. John's got a mini review of Sinners, and I'm still mad that I haven't been able to see it yet, although I give myself grace because they released it on Easter weekend. Easter weekend, they released this great horror movie with one of our best directors alive who just happened to go to some grad school that some people have heard of. I don't know.
That's the thing. Everybody spent the weekend with their family. They need something to relax.
And then, well, I tried to go today at 10 a.m. and I fucking missed it because I was at the DMV. God damn it. So anyway, if you're new to the show, check the show notes. Scoot ahead if you want to get straight to your Black Swan content. We also like to set up the year in review. 2010 was a bit of a doozy. What a big turning point, that, census year 2010. So we hope you like listening for the context. But again, for whatever reason, if you only want to hear about Black Swan, go ahead, check the show notes, check the chapters, scoot ahead. We'll tell you what we've been watching at the end of the episode. John's got his mini review at the top. Anything else we got to say before we dive in?
I guess I'll throw some sponsors in there.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure. We got a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. You got the handle in the show notes, cbarroso.beer. Go over there and like and love all his beer-making shenanigans. We also have an artist in residence who provides the music for this episode and every single episode of our podcast. That artist's name is Dasein, Dasein. You can find their music available on all the usual music platforms. Follow in the link tree or just go there yourself. Dasein, Dasein. Enjoy. You're welcome.
That was quick.
Yes.
I hope people aren't listening on 1.5x.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, Sinners.
Dan.
Let's do it. Everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's listening to you on 1.5x, dude.
Everybody is talking about it. This is Ryan Coogler's long-awaited... What do we call this? I read an article, and I really am going to try not to say too much about the movie because I do really want to hear you guys talk about it. Maybe I'll throw in a little bit more in after you both have seen it, because I have a feeling you're going to see it this week or next week. But just a little preface for this. A really great article came out, I think it was in Deadline or one of the major trades, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was a good interview with Coogler. And he was kind of talking about how he really feels like this is actually his first personal film. Oh. Because Fruitvale Station, there was a famous pitch that he had with Forrest Whitaker's company and the producer who ended up, Nina Bon Jovi, who ended up, I think that's her name. She taught in the producing program at the school that Ryan went to. Never heard of it. He pitched something else to them initially. And then they were like, what else you got? One of those classic scenarios. And he kind of rattled off a few other ideas, and Fruitvale was one of them. So he went and wrote that script. It was really just the pitch because it was a famous real life event, famous for bad reasons, infamous event, if you will. So it's not that that's not personal. And obviously he's a brilliant artist who can find his way into Oakland, all these great movies. He made that. He made the Creed first movie. He obviously ended on going on to make Black Panther. So clearly he has found his pinch into all of these projects. But apparently he said out of his own mouth, he was like, I kind of realized I was getting to a point in my career. Well, if I didn't make something that I wanted to make from the heart that I wrote that was going to be my kind of movie, I might never do it just because I was kind of getting into the, swallowed up by the machine. So it's interesting knowing that going into this because
what a great problem to have.
Can you imagine? He's a fucking genius, and he's so successful, and he deserves it. I mean, he's got such good personality and all the things you want from like somebody that you might want to look up to at a time when we need storytelling like this. So this brings you to the movie. He somehow managed, and I kind of texted this to Brandon and to our other friend. I think Ryan Coogler somehow managed to make a significant exploitation horror film. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It's got, I can't really think of who to comp him with. He has like this.
Good, because everybody's trying to comp him with everything.
I know, and you don't want to do it, but it's trying to really, it is something unique. He has this kind of Spielberg sentiment, wide audience, brilliant filmmaking that feels commercial kind of thing, but it also has a lot of grounded substance and significance that feels like it is approaching something more, dare I say, like artistic. There are things that him and Ludwig, the composer, do with music and design that make this is probably the most interesting movie musical I've ever seen in my life. There are a few sequences, and there are musical elements in here, full-on performances that do things you have never seen a movie do before. It is really unreal. And then there's also, it's a fucking vampire movie. So there's also just really good fucking blood and guts and all the stuff that you think would be there. But there's something underneath that gives it a significance. I don't know how else to put it. Last little thing I'll say is it's out in all these different versions. Ultimately, I don't think it matters. If there's a theater near you, go see it in the theater. If you can see it in one of the big sexy versions, it's probably worth it to have that really good sound just to make it more immersive.
This one they actually shot in IMAX too, didn't they?
They shot in IMAX and they shot in Panavision 270. So they shot simultaneously with two different cameras, two different modes of film. So the IMAX with the 15 perfs, anyone who's watched that video, the giant one that you're going to be able to see, not all of like the AMC, we've talked about this before, right, folks? Not all AMC IMAX theaters are capable of going to a full 1.9 or a 1.43.
Yeah,
some of them are.
Lincoln Center is the only one in New York.
It is. There's one in Brooklyn too. No. Brooklyn, y'all's Alamo in Brooklyn is doing the 70 mil. If anybody is passionate about that, where it'll just be Panavision wide, which is fucking awesome. I mean, I think most of the digital screens have basically formatted it to that. It's going to be like that 276, and it's going to look wide. It's just not actually film that's in the projector. It's just a DCP. I saw it in Dolby Atmos. I am going to see it again at the City Walk so I can see the full IMAX, because that's the only theater here that can go to that full 1.43, 1.9. And it's got the 15 perf IMAX thing. So, I'm sure it'll just be a much more striking image. Don't let any of that deter you. Like, who fucking cares? Just go see the movie in the theater. I had one of the best theater experiences I've had in fucking years. I mean, everybody was packed. People were quiet when they were supposed to be quiet and responsive when they were supposed to be responsive.
Horror
in
movies
funny
do
ways,
that,
group ways, yelling ways. But again, that significance thing, it didn't feel cheap. It felt like everyone was aware they were watching something that was important by a filmmaker that we should pay attention to.
I've noticed because I've seen a couple over the last couple of years now, like Barbarian. Everyone is well behaved.
That was a fun theater experience too.
Dude,
Anyway, shout outs to that movie. The performances are great.
Nice.
We're talking about the filmmaking, but my God, everybody's really good in it. Really good in it. Go see it. Anyway.
I was trying to look at the IMAX 70 and Lincoln Center.
You guys have
it. Looks pretty damn packed. It looks for the next couple of days at least, but we'll figure it out.
Good.
Just in case anyone who's listening to this that doesn't already look this stuff up, there is a really cool video of Ryan Coogler explaining all the different aspect ratios and how they filmed it in all these different ways. So he can kind of take you through, if this is a theater near you, this is what you might get. If there's a theater like this is what you might get. It'll sound like this. It'll look like this. Here's the difference. It's kind of fun. Just he's literally got some whiteboards, kind of explains the difference between aspect ratio
also,
and different modes of film.
If this episode blows up and a lot of people listen to it, I'm probably going to see it next Saturday. So if everyone could save me a seat.
Yes. Yes.
Hey,
that's another reason. I really will. I'm going to push this upon people. I'm going to cheerlead hard for this. Go see it as soon as possible, because I think you're going to want to see it again in the theater before it leaves.
Wow.
especially if you want to take a chance on a different format. But it's that much fun, and I think you're going to feel really good about watching it in the theater. All right, I'm done. Let's go.
I love it. Ludwig Göransson has a producer credit on this
Jeff,
on top of his scoring credit.
The score, there's 2 sections that are going to absolutely melt your brain. Like, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they choreographed it. I don't know how they set the score. I don't know how he designed the sound and wrote the music for this. I don't know how they did it. It's mesmerizing. It's magic, dude. It's wizardry.
Super stoked. And we've done too much financial stuff in the past couple weeks. Last week was the writers' strike, losing 42% of its jobs since the pandemic, as we talked about, or maybe just since the strikes.
I mean, you sold me. I'm going to go see it. I'll send you my laundry bill for my undies.
Look, if you want to know more about the financing of this hit movie and how it's splintering Hollywood right now, just go in Variety and then get all of your The Last of Us spoilers in their fucking headlines. The next morning, it says it just blurts a spoiler into a headline.
Somebody did that with Daredevil too.
What the fuck, dude? There weren't as many people watching Daredevil. That is super fucked. I think everybody who has an HBO Max subscription is watching. It was
Easter. Maybe some people just wanted to wait one day, to watch it the next night. I know it's sort of appointment TV, but it's really not. Just give us a fucking day.
Didn't they do it with the Red Wedding episode too?
No, I think the Red Wedding was pretty legit, but I'm not sure. I wasn't reading Variety at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was one episode of Game of Thrones where everybody was
all they need to do is say, like, the stars talk about the latest huge spoiler in the show. And I can guess what it is, but don't tell me. So that way, at least I'm like, I think it's this, but I don't know. But I mean, rude. Two different headlines.
For those people who can't watch it on Sunday night, yeah, that sucks. I mean, anyone who's played the game knows what's
I was
coming.
watching Black Swan on Sunday nights for this fucking podcast because it was Easter and I didn't watch it with my 1 and 3-year-old nieces. I was watching Paw Patrol
Variety.
like a normal uncle.
Yeah, fucking Variety.
Come on.
Stop being part of the problem.
But how about this? Wait, speaking of this isn't a rant that I mean to do, but Dave, go ahead, hit it. This is not meant to be my gripe, but I'll do it. How is the 10 Commandments not on Easter anymore? It wasn't on Easter. It wasn't even on the night before. You couldn't get Jesus Christ Superstar, but my dad was looking for the 10 Commandments, wanted to fire it up, get it going. We got a different TV now, so we don't have the old DVR. We don't have the old, TiVo, like save the things for a year. Not a single 10 Commandments. You want us to get fired up? You want us to get back into the church? And then the Pope dies? But this is the weirdest Easter of all time. We're trying to get fired up for Easter. Here we are celebrating Good Friday by having no work and everybody just like hanging out. Good Friday for the crucifixion. Now it's fucking Easter. It's the day he's risen. We can't even get fired up for it with the fucking 10 Commandments. Come on. Makes no sense.
Some streaming fuckwit owns the rights to that for sure.
Fired up.
Do you think the studio who had whatever that thing that came out, what's it called? The movie that's out this week?
The Last Supper or the
The Last Supper was one, and then there was another one that made like $12 million. I posted it. Yeah. I can't remember.
And for any kids out there listening who don't know what the 10 Commandments are, don't worry, they'll be on the wall of your school real soon.
I give you 15. Oh, shit. 10.
The King of Kings. It's so good. It's so good, Mel Brooks. The King of Kings, $17.3 million domestic this past week. $17 million.
They're coming.
Instead of going to see centers, people took their family to go see The King of Kings, $45 million domestic total.
They're even
Angel Studios.
Dude,
animated Jesus. That's an animated Jesus. That's the animated Jesus film. There was another one too, but an animated Jesus film.
If it's animation, you can do all the miracles.
And the Pope died. What a weird Easter.
Yeah, how fucking weird is that the Pope? Sorry to hear that. Of
and
course.
Easter's on 4/20. I mean, what a year.
Fucking weird coincidence. But also, they are literally in a conclave right now. I didn't know what that was until last year. Right? I feel like a lot of people probably didn't think or give a shit about. You just knew about the white smoke. That's all I knew about it. Basically.
Also, one of the last people he saw was somebody. J.D. Vance, who he didn't want to see because he felt that J.D. Vance was trying to tell him how to be a better Christian, like us Americans who are not feeding poor. Anyway, we can't get into this. Okay, we can't get drawn into this. That was my gripe. I had other gripes in mind, but that's the one I did. Dave, you had a gripe? You want to say anything?
That's a good gripe.
No, I'm good. I think we've
How is there no 10 Commandments the night before Easter?
I said I was just going to say a little bit
American
about
apple pie. All right, well, we can get into the next segment. Anything else before I start giving you the year in review?
Nothing else.
Let's get into
2010.
All right.
What a year.
The year 2000.
What a midterm.
10.
Ouch.
What a midterm. The Tea Party is going to come up in here. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
We've done this year before. What was the highest grossing movie that came out in the year 2010?
Social Network?
Definitely not. It actually wasn't even in the top 12. Good. Dave, you saw it and liked it. We rewatched it together for a movie podcast we have. You might have heard of it. It's called The Love of Cinema.
I'm still going to guess, because we have a Marvel movie, Iron Man 2, and we have Deathly Hallows Part 1, Harry Potter. I'm going Deathly Hallows.
No, actually, that came in number 3. It
might be Iron Man 2 because nobody knew Iron Man 2 sucked yet.
Oh, come on.
Come on, Mickey Rourke doesn't talk for most of the movie. I mean, come on. I actually don't remember what we did for our summer blockbuster face-off here. Did we do it?
Toy Story 3, I think.
Well, guess what? That was the highest grossing movie of the year. The highest grossing movie of the year was Toy. Wait, we really did that? That was a summer blockbuster? I guess it was. $1.068 billion, Toy Story 3. Remember when the Toy Story series ended and then it ended again and then they're going to end it again? And
it was like John Farnham retiring. Only Australians will get that joke, but yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure to put in the show notes. Yeah. John Farnham, would you say?
Yeah.
Is that the singer? I texted about him that one time. I was like, who the fuck is this?
I'm not gonna
His voice is incredible.
It is. It really is. And he did 6 farewell tours.
Wow.
Number 2 is not Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows either. There was another movie that came in here, guys. Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton, Johnny Depp remake, made $1 billion at the global box office.
I have never seen that. Is it good?
It's colorful.
It's colorful for sure.
It looks like an acid trip for sure.
For Alan Rickman as the Cheshire Cat, you should see it.
Sure, that's it. Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 comes in number 3 with $950. Shrek Ever After, Forever After? Shrek 4 Ever After. Sorry, excuse me.
God, we're going to get so many justice for Shrek
$756.
Comments now you've mentioned that.
I already got one today. We got one today. Inception, guys, comes in at number 5, $728 million. Gee, do you think that would have been, if he had Ryan Coogler's deal, do you think that would have been a good deal would that have ruined Hollywood if Christopher Nolan had first dollar gross
I'm going to look it up
years
right
he gets
now.
Inception
what was
again?
the first weekend gross of Inception? I'm looking it up right now. Keep going.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, to round out the top 10, The Twilight Saga, Eclipse, Iron Man 2, Dave, Tangled, number 8, $583 million. Despicable Me, that's the first one. $543 million comes in at number 9. And then number 10, How to Train Your Dragon. I also threw in Clash of the Titans. And The King's Speech was the 12th highest grossing movie at $430 million. So all these people who talk about The King's Speech for Social Network, and they're like, how fucking stupid is it? These stuffy Oscar people loving The King's Speech. First of all, The King's Speech is great. Second of all, it made $430 million. So don't make it seem like it's some niche, yuppie movie. 430, including 138 million in America.
You know why Clash of the Titans is in there? Because they released a 3D screening of it. Everyone went, oh, cool, 3D. I'll fucking go and see that. I took my glasses off at least once, and it was so fucking flat. Like, it was just, you could see the picture perfectly. There was nothing.
The 3D, okay.
The 3D was so fucking bad.
You were bamboozled into paying extra money for Clash of the Titans.
Hey, I looked it up real fast before you keep going. Guess how much Inception made in its opening weekend domestically?
$47 million.
30?
Just over 60 million. Pretty much the exact same fucking number. 60, somewhere between 60 and 62 is what I looked up on 2 different sources.
Yeah, look, this Sinners is not going to make $700 million. It's certainly not going to make $400 million abroad. That's for sure.
I know. IMAX is fucking full for 2 days.
I think it might get into the hundreds. I think it's going to get into the
for sure. It'll get in the hundreds domestically. It should get 250 worldwide at least. Anyway, if you were paying close attention there, you would notice that 5 top 10 movies were animated movies. So
those franchises have become fucking powerhouses since.
Yeah, and you know what the highest grossing movie of 2025 is so far?
Minecraft.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have a theory about that, actually. I have a funny feeling that the chicken jockey thing was started by a film executive to get people to go and see this movie to do the TikTok challenge. Because they started it as a fucking TikTok challenge.
Fucking weird. TikTok, man.
And suddenly everyone had to go to Minecraft and throw their popcorn in the air when Chicken Jockey came out.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. They've been trashing cinemas, dude. There's been people stopping movies and they called the cops on one theater.
These fucking kids, man.
Jack Black turned up to one and went, no, everybody behave. Don't do that. Don't do it this time. One guy brought a chicken into the theater. And not like a bucket of chicken, a real live chicken.
I want to see a real life chicken in the theater, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that video's on TikTok. You can find it.
Although now I have A-list, so the movie voucher thing isn't really a good incentive to stop the movie for me anymore. The movie year started with Avatar winning the first 5 weekends, which I think opened like a month before 2009 ended. So we won all these in a row. But you know what finally unseated? Oh, we did some recently that was like 13 weeks in a row, like through April. Saturday Night Fever or whatever was the number one movie. Dear John, which I think is a Channing Tatum. Isn't that like John Green?
Is that
movie
Rachel
or something?
McAdams?
I don't think so. I think it's is it a Miley Cyrus and Channing Tatum or something like that?
Something
weird like that.
Sounds about right.
Yep,
It's like
that unseated Avatar.
Diet Nicholas Sparks movie.
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe it is. Yeah, it's Nicholas Sparks or John Green or something like that. Anyway,
Sinners was a horror movie.
no research. Fuck
Jesus.
this. Yeah. The Oscars, we basically just did. The King's Speech won Best Picture, Best Director, and it won Best Leading Actor.
$430 million.
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
I can't even fathom that. That is incredible.
I hate when people are dumb and they're just like, the King's Speech is proof that they're old white guys and The Social Network is awesome and they missed their moment. And it's like, I know. It's complicated to choose between two movies, but you can't just sit there and make it seem like it was just like your grandma and your grandpa who's an academic. $430 million. It outgrows The Social Network.
Not easy to achieve. Wow.
Anyway, Colin Firth won his Oscar. I really wanted Jeffrey Rush to win for King's Speech, but he already has an Oscar for Shine, so fine. Christian Bale won for The Fighter. He was great in it. Melissa Leo also won for The Fighter. And Helena Bonham Carter won the BAFTA, but Natalie Portman would win for Black Swan. More on her later. She also beat Annette Bening for The Kids Are All Right, who might have won, but she also had an Oscar already. Anyway, Aaron Sorkin won his Oscar. David Seidler won for King's Speech for writing, although Christopher Nolan won the WGA. So here we are. We're at a time where they're spreading the wealth out with all the different awards. Pretty interesting. Randy Newman wins an Oscar for We Belong Together from Toy Story 3, which won Best Animated Film. And Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor won their first Oscar for their ambient digital approach to Social Network score. And Inside Job was documentary. Other Oscar-nominated movies, True Grit, Winter's Bone introduced us to J-Law. Blue Valentine was fucked up. James Franco's 127 Hours. Javier Bardem was in Beautiful this year. I know John likes that. And Jeremy Renner was awesome in The Town.
I do like that.
The Book of Eli, Jackie Chan's The Spy Next Door. I don't know. Shutter Island, he actually came out in 2010 in February, but it was supposed to be 2009, so people just thought it was bad and they dumped it the next year.
I actually really fucking enjoyed Shutter Island. I've seen that at least twice.
Me too. I think it's fun too. And I remember seeing it with somebody who said, "Oh, it's so obvious that this is what it is and this is how it's going to end."
Bullshit.
And then
it's
after
not
the movie ended,
what it is.
after the movie, he was wrong. And he said again to a larger group of people, "Oh, it was so obvious what was going on." And I was like, "You got it wrong." Dick.
Call it
Anyway.
out. That's what we do here.
Fuck yeah. MacGruber also came out this year.
I was
Anything
about to say,
else?
don't forget about MacGruber.
Any other movies you want to shout out?
Yeah, I always think it's fun when, how about The Expendables that came out? The Book of Eli, that's a fun kind of sci-fi that not enough people have seen that. Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's a classic.
Tom Cruise, whenever Tom Cruise doesn't have a giant hit, I'm always fascinated by it. Night and Day. I actually like that movie.
I didn't mind that
movie
either.
came out this year. Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. She's Out of My League. We mentioned that. 127 Hours. You talked about that. How about didn't Tony Scott do Unstoppable?
Yes, that movie's good. That movie's really good. It's a monster movie.
It's good.
That movie's good. We talked about that when we talked about The Train.
Pelham. Yeah, that is good. Gulliver's Travels. Nobody saw that. Salt. No come on.
Shout out to Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, who is fighting. He's standing up for sinners at the box office, getting on Twitter.
Yeah, he is.
While he's chilling in his box. He's chilling on his courtside seats at the Knicks game for the Knicks playoff series, and he's power tweeting at Variety and all these other motherfuckers. He had Greenberg that came out this year, which he co-starred in with
Greenberg. Greta
Gerwig.
Yeah, she's in there, right? I'll call this out just because I think it for some fun film history. Let Me In.
Oh yeah,
is the American remake of Let the Right One In, that amazing Swedish movie, Swedish, about the boy, a bullied boy who befriends like a young female vampire girl. The remake is directed, and I don't know if he affected the screenplay as well, but Matt Reeves, shot by, who's your boy, Dave?
Roger Deakins?
Who shot, no, the Australian who shot Dune. And
I can never remember his fucking name.
Greg Fraser, right?
Yeah, Greg Fraser.
I think it's the first time they worked together, and it was kind of the thing that solidified, I think, Matt's feature career here. And after this, he made the second Planet of the Apes movie. So I feel like this was the one that kind of set him in, and the movie's, it's good. It's a good remake. Anyway.
Well, whatever happened to everybody that remade The Karate Kid this year?
Sure.
Yeah, nothing happened to
Good
them.
question.
That was me. All right, let's get into some world events so we can get to this movie, all right?
Hey, let me ask you, wait, before we talk about this movie, what's your favorite movie of 2010? I froze.
Well, The Social
I know
Network
what
would be an
Dave's
obvious
is.
choice. I love The King's Speech, too.
Dave's is Scott Pilgrim, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and Kick-Ass
Right.
also came out this year, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was also a top, 10, but so was Inception.
Okay. And Jeff, I was going to guess yours is Social Network. Was I right?
I mean, part of me first doesn't want to answer it that way, but I just still think it's just done so well. I think the music really helped.
It's a
I love the King's. I
Those
really
are good
love the King's
answers.
Speech
Come
too.
on.
I love the King's Speech
Yeah,
too, but
yeah.
it's got to be the
Jeff
Social
just puts
Network,
that in
yeah.
his earphones to listen to some slow talking.
Especially in terms of
Oh, my slow
rewatchability.
talking, yeah.
If we're hanging out together and we're like, let's only watch a movie from 2010, I feel like if we hadn't seen it in a while, you guys would be like,
That's a good
either one
exemplar
of these
movie.
movies would put a giant fucking smile on my face. Let's put them in. All right,
What about you?
let's go. It's probably Social Network, but I also love Black Swan, so I'm excited to talk about it.
More about Social Network. Mark Zuckerberg was Times Person of the Year in 2010.
Wow. I didn't know you could buy that one as well.
Hey, Dave! I want to gush you, but
David.
I want to have a podcast after next week.
David.
All right, here we go. Here's a little world news from 2010, setting the scene of what happened the year The Black Swan came out. After months of speculation, Robert Pattinson finally confirmed he was dating Kristen Stewart in February. One Direction was formed in The X Factor. Relationship rumors began to swirl when Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez were spotted kissing at midnight on New Year's Eve. Taylor Swift drank Starbucks with Jake Gyllenhaal. Jennifer Lawrence had a breakout. Kesha's TikTok was the #1 song of the year. Katy Perry's California Girls was the unofficial song of the summer. Lady Gaga wore that meat dress. Flash mobs were a thing.
Remember flash mobs?
And then I realized that out of all the tabs I opened, I was looking at 17.com for all of my news.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, who fucking cares about all of
Fuck you,
that stuff? Yeah. I was my finger was on your buzzer the whole time. I was like, this is terrible.
That was 17. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, so I'll move to some other things that were important. Swine flu. Remember swine flu? Swine flu was 2010.
That's not on 17.com.
Shout out to my buddy Jared Lofton, who had swine flu
I
and
forgot about that.
and strep throat at the same time. He had two things at once. Maybe swine flu and mono at the same time. He had
It'll
a
get
tough
you.
couple.
What was he doing?
And
The
you had
first
to
episode of
quarantine
Black
back
Mirror?
then. He had to quarantine
Kissing
back
a
then.
pig.
Yeah, he was kissing a pig. WikiLeaks was this year. Remember WikiLeaks?
Wasn't kissing it.
So they
The
just-
first round. Yeah,
Dave.
right?
The Lost finale came out this year and made nobody happy. But maybe more
I loved
importantly,
it. I thought it was great.
I liked it too. I was fun. I was satisfied. Nobody else was. Just you and me, Dave.
no, it was in hindsight it was moving. Now that I know that it happened, you go back and rewatch it and it's cool. His dad.
If you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
That was me talking about the movie last week. I was like, once I realized I was bored, I had a good time.
Be honest. Wait. Be honest with me. The finale and last season of Lost is better than the finale and last season of Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
We give Lost so much shit for it, but I think it's way better than
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
No, it was great. It was great. Let's see. What else? The most popular TV shows. Can you guess? 2010. What was the most popular TV show?
Is Breaking Bad out yet?
Come on. I said the most popular. You gotta think lamer.
Big Bang Theory.
I think Lost would
Actually,
still
Big
be
Bang
one of
Theory
them.
was number 6. Guys, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're so out of touch, man. Number 1
I
was
am out of
American
touch.
Idol.
I watch reality
American
TV.
Idol.
Sure,
This was
sure,
at the
sure.
time when American
That's
Idol
what's
was the
wrong
number
with
1 show
America.
twice a week. It was
This is
number
like
1
the-
and 2.
This is like the center, the fucking right of reality television and that kind of stuff. Like it was huge.
Leading
When
me
they write
to-
the history books, they'll be like, the Troubles started
Yeah, leading me to number 2, The Voice. Number 3, NBC Sunday Night Football. Number 4, Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my God.
And then number 5, finally, Modern Family comes in there with some scripted content. Big
Modern
Bang Theory,
Family,
Grey's
good
Anatomy, Survivor Nicaragua, NCIS, and then Glee. So not exactly the coolest top 10 of all time.
Survivor Nicaragua? What's the fucking challenge level on that?
Yeah, Dave, let me see you in Nicaragua for a couple months and let's see how you do.
You think Mike White was on around that time? Probably, right?
No, I'm saying it'd be
Yeah, 'cause
high.
he was obsessed with it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. United States Census. Somehow San Jose, California was number 10 on the census list here. But, New York, Los Angeles, fuck, I'm going to skip that. As the World Turns and Larry King end after decades, Prince William and Kate Middleton announced engagement.
It went well for them.
It's going okay so far. They're siblings, maybe a little different here. Downton Abbey, Sherlock, The Walking Dead all premiere.
Wow.
Yeah. SpaceX, definitely would not have known what they were in 2010, launches the Dragon capsule, first to return safely to Earth from a low orbit. Probably cost a little bit less than this Blue Origin flight that came out.
2010?
Yeah.
Wow.
But there were no people on board. It was just,
That was before they turned the X sideways.
I think that was
things on the side.
Okay. Yep. I think we can all picture that. We can all picture it. James got himself with that one. That was good.
There's going to be kangaroos in my background before you know it.
Woo! The Affordable Care Act passes in Congress. This is the fucked up year where South Africa had the World Cup, except the problem is South Africa is in winter in the summer when they usually host the World Cup. So everybody was freezing. Spain won.
Chile.
The Tea Party grows. It technically didn't start this year, but it certainly grows into something real big ahead of the midterm elections because they actually were ready to oust Republicans that weren't conservative enough. So any people who took money to back the ACA were all going to get voted out, for instance. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill. That's right. BP's oil spill off the coast of Louisiana happened this year. The Haiti earthquake, which was not good. That was bad. And the Chilean earthquake. And there was a tsunami this year. Remember that? And let's see.
That was the Thailand tsunami year?
I feel like Thailand was earlier because Unstoppable or what was the one with Naomi Watts was pretty recent.
Yeah. And Ewan McGregor. Yeah.
Fuck. But maybe it was definitely a huge tsunami. I didn't take litigious notes here. Angry Birds was the favorite app. And the last thing that I'll say is panic was caused by an escaped crocodile being smuggled aboard domestic Filair flight, which led to the crash of Let L410 turbojet passenger aircraft near Bandundu Airport, Democratic Republic of the Congo, killing all but one of the 21 passengers and crews. A crocodile
Crocs on a plane. These motherfucking crocs on these motherfucking planes.
I don't know. Pretty good concept.
I'll throw one more piece of trivia in there. Apple released the first iPad in 2010.
Definitely mention that. I thought I mentioned that. Did I mention that?
Did you mention that?
And I didn't buy one for 15 years.
I thought I mentioned it. Man, I can't remember. All right. Apple did release the first iPad.
Sometimes it all just blurs. You start talking and
it's okay. I get it. I get it.
I'm hearing, I'm not listening,
This is also the year that an Icelandic volcano poured so much ash that all flights were halted between Europe and America.
Oh, I remember that.
Do you remember right after that? Because we all lived in New York at the time. I know you guys still live there. Right after that, as soon as the fucking ash cleared, they started promoting the fuck out of tourism in Iceland. And they launched that round trip from JFK for $136.
Yeah.
Or something. They were begging people to come to the fucking island.
If you stay at a hotel here, just get yourself here. It's free.
And they also have, if you do a stopover, they give you discounts on the flights still.
Yes, it's still a thing. I want to go so bad. It's supposed to be a great destination. Iceland, what's up? All right, let's go.
Well, it's still there. Are you guys ready to talk about
It's rebuilding itself daily. What are you talking about?
Is it rebuilding itself?
Yeah, it's adding more rocks.
Is it flowing?
Adding more rocks.
It has been recently, yeah.
Oh,
it hit the blue pool. That famous hot
the blue pool.
Yeah.
All right.
It ate their car park or something.
All right, guys, I think we're ready to do this. You ready? We're going to start the way we always do. I read the IMDb description, and then we go around the horn. No stuffy criticism. What you think, what you feel, shoot from the gut. How is this rewatch of Black Swan? It's available on Hulu if you have your subscriptions up to date. Let's get into it. Black Swan. Nina, is a talented but unstable ballerina on the verge of stardom. Pushed to the breaking point by her artistic director and a seductive rival, Nina's grip on reality slips, plunging her into a waking nightmare. Black Swan, directed by Darren Aronofsky, written by Mark Heyman, Andres Heinz, and John J. McLaughlin. Starring Natalie, Portman, Mila, Kunis, and Vincent Cassel with a little shout out from Winona Ryder. You guys ready to do this?
Did you see Sebastian Stan in it too?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, little Winter Soldier. Baby Winter Soldier.
First time I noticed him. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Soldier. All right. You ready?
Yes.
What'd you think? What'd you feel? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
David.
Well, I had to watch this alone because my wife saw it years ago when she was living in Hawaii. And is still scarred from the first watch she had of it. She loved it because she had a very visceral reaction to it. And I would say this is one of the few films I've seen that can actually put you inside a psychotic break.
Nice. Well put, dude.
Yeah. So, because shit goes down, man. And like, I'll get to some of the other stuff as well. But like, I work in the industry as well. And so there's a lot of stuff, like he was very detailed about some of the things that do actually go on in the industry and stuff. But like, I've also had like, I've had someone pass out backstage. I've had like someone have diabetic hallucinations when they're on stage, but I've never had someone absolutely go insane during a production. Fortunately, but this
went
was
full Daniel Day in this motherfucker, didn't she?
Yeah. In saying that, oh my God, what a performance.
Oh,
like if there was nothing else to, even if the rest of it sucked, it would get by in this performance, but it doesn't. Like there's stuff about the camera work that's phenomenal. There's stuff about everything else phenomenal, but her performance from the get-go, you're sitting there going, oh, she's not going to be able to cope with anything in this. And she telegraphs it almost without saying a word. It's just in the facial expressions, the posture, everything. And yeah, so really, really phenomenal performance. I don't think I've ever seen a performance where I went, that deserves an Oscar more than this one.
Dude, Dave, could not say that better myself, man. How many times have you seen this movie? Do you think
This was my third
time? Okay. This
and I finally understood
fifth, sixth.
Yeah.
I finally understood it. I'll start with that just to echo it. She is a national treasure. She is so good.
Wait for Oscar Israel, where she was born.
Okay, sure. Well, she's ours now. I mean,
it kind of makes you wonder how, like, what talent George Lucas had to make her look like a bad actress in Star Wars.
Maybe it was my 10-year-old libido, but I thought she was pretty good. I thought she
was great also. I mean, they strategically cut her shirt just above the belly button by like in a fight sequence. It was really smart.
She is perfect, dude. She's amazing. So it does not hurt by any means when your film is helmed by a phenom talent. Like she's in almost every fucking moment of this movie. Yeah. We're behind her, we're in front of her, we're beside her, we're tracking around her while she's dancing, feeling, sleeping, everything. I mean, it's if there's two of her. Yeah, it's crazy.
How many drugs do you think Aronofsky's done? Like, for real?
Quite a few. He's not afraid. Have you ever seen The Fountain?
Yeah.
God damn, dude. Okay. This being my probably fifth or sixth rewatch of this. What I walked away with the most this time, and I'm not gonna lie, some of it was fun seeing a movie like Sinners that again has like a lot of commercial kind of style filmmaking, doing the heavy lifting for some of the bigger sequences, and then watching this, and I'm not comparing them in terms of quality. They're both very successful, but they're so different in terms of their aesthetic. This movie made me feel like I was watching a movie from the 70s this time. It's so stripped down.
John loves movies from the 70s, by the way. This is a good thing.
In case you know that. Yeah, sure. This is a compliment. It's like, it feels like the best low budget movie in this genre. You know what I mean? Like there's the way, the aesthetic, the way they designed it, the way that it's actually captured, the actual filming, the production, location choices, the fact that a lot of it was locations, the simple idea of a binary black and white production design. There are so many things that feel like low budget that I had never really noticed before. And it's this time, like, I feel like I couldn't get away from them. Like, it just kept blowing me away. The way that they captured every scene, nothing was over the top. And because of that, and I'm sure I'm going to reference it later in the episode, Dave, you said it, man. And I think there's something about that. He created that kind of aesthetic creates such a grounded realism that reality felt very unsettling when she started to break within it.
Yeah.
It did not feel like a movie. It felt like a fucking documentary.
Very, very similar chill. In I think Devil's Advocate, when his wife's putting on his wife's friend's putting on the dress, and she lets the dress drop, and you see a demon face in her side just before it drops. It's very much that sort of thing. They pull that
those
a lot.
Little subtle moments.
Like, did that actually happen? Like, was that real?
The first time when she goes in her mom's painting room. And you see that the face on the main painting just like kind of smirks for just a second. There's those tiny ones that are great. The skin, of course. There's all these things that build and build and build. The VFX
even the stuff
is really good.
Even the stuff they really telegraph is like when she sees herself walking towards herself, and the camera is just so shaky. You're like, is that? Oh yeah, it is.
Really even that, dude. Even that. Like, all right, we were watching that, and I'm not throwing Elizabeth under the bus here. She was asking me, as she does sometimes, if like something cool happens in a movie. She was like, how do they do that? That is the most practical, low-budget fucking way to achieve something. Just in that one moment when she walks past her and you see her face in the light, it's actually her. The other time, it's not. It's so simple. It's so easy. And it's just editing where you put the camera over somebody's shoulder or directly behind them, and some good sound design. And I guess I was so overwhelmed watching it this time without trying to. Sometimes I go into this and I want it to really scare me and stuff. This time I just watched, like, just thinking about how they made this movie. And I was just so satisfied seeing how fucking effective this kind of approach can be when you have a star that's that good, a script that's that good, a really, dedicated, immersive kind of the theatrical experience of it, like, certainly helps make you feel like you're backstage. That secret, you're in on the secret a little bit. You're seeing how that sausage is getting made. So I don't know. I was just so blown away. 70s. This was a 70s movie. I fucking love Darren Aronofsky. Jeff.
Yep, I loved it too. This was great. No complaints. I kind of want to talk about the ending a little bit, but we'll talk about it as we get to the movie. Not the ending, like what it means, like the last frame or anything like that. I mean, just like how we got to the end, because obviously a lot of fucked up shit happened along the way. But yeah, I loved it. But the thing that caught me this time, because this is probably only my second time watching it all the way through, to be honest with you, is the opening. It's I don't want to say it's Raging Bull because I don't want to comp my heart out, but it's just her dancing with music and nothing in the background. It's like as so blank, good. And then you get the guy, and the music is stunning, and I don't need anything else. I don't need any exposition. We know, we get the gist of what it's going to be about based on the title and knowing that it's her. We can
and
talk
also
more
the way
about
it turns as well, like in that first opening scene. Yeah.
Well, and I think, and they credit, of course, she married the choreographer, and it did not. It ended last year, I believe, her relationship with Benjamin Millepied, the French choreographer who's also in the movie. They have kids together, etc. But it's another thing about this is, and I'm always fascinated by this when, look, sometimes she has a sickled foot, all right? And dancers, you can't hide that. It's one of those things, like Pavarotti says, like, it takes 10 years to make that sound. Like, you can't just study it for a movie, certain things, same thing with sports. So how do you do it? How do you make them look legit? And yes, there was a double. There is some weird dramatic stuff about how much they did face replacement, just like they did in The Social Network. They said Natalie Portman did 85 to 90% of it, whatever the fucking shit. Maybe they said they didn't want the double talking at all because they wanted Natalie Portman to be promoted for an Oscar. And then later she said, I was told not to say. I don't know, that kind of complication. My point is, it was brilliant how they made it seem good in a way that you also were aware of, but also respected. They didn't ask her to do like 35 fouettes in a row. Like they didn't ask her to do anything ridiculous that she just would not have been able to do.
Because I remember
they would do that.
I remember reading they said, oh, she trained for a year for this role, and I'm like, for a ballet dancer, that's not that long.
Right. I mean, this is their whole life, and it's their only thing in life. I have a ballet dancer student who's like running track, and I was like, do they let you do that? She was like, what? I was like, the ballet studio. Like, do they let you run track? Because most of these competitive ballet studios that, let's say, Misty Copeland came from, which is also the same one that my significant other comes from, you're only allowed to miss twice a year. And I mean 2 days. So you can't run track. You can't run, they would never let you do these kind of, like, this is literally your life. But anyway, I'm not saying it because I think the dance is important. I'm saying it because it is integrated into the performance. The way it is danced is part of the performance, and it is captivating and carrying her. She is her body. Her body is her instrument. Beyond being an actor, it's magical. It's stunning the way that it's done. And I also love that she didn't give it a seasoned performance, at least in the way that it looks. Of course, it's a seasoned performance, but she seems like a rattled child. And not like a master actor doing a great role, which is probably how it would have been done pre-1970s if it was a studio film, right? It would have been like, this is classy.
With one exception. Like the look in her face when she first time she tells her mother no, and the first look when she spins towards the camera is the Black Swan.
Well, yeah,
that fucking look is terrifying.
Yeah, but it's beyond just like good and bad and good evil. It's just the depth of it. Like it's almost like she allows herself to look amateurish.
Exactly. And I would say that that's true. That is something I don't think we've given her enough credit for across her work. She seems to bring that thing you're talking about, looking like that. How do you make it look like you're not totally collected and having that much experience? It's just that we're like almost describing it correctly, but I know exactly what you mean. And I think that seems to somehow live inside of most of the things she does, except maybe that one Star Wars movie. But I mean, she was like that in fucking Leon the Professional. First time out, right? She's like, she just has that thing. Anyway, Jeff, I'm glad you mentioned the opening because I forgot that was how the movie opened this time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it was just so fucking pleasant. And again, like you're referencing like what we think of as like it's on maybe the Rushmore of certainly movies from the 70s, 80s, that kind of New Hollywood, the end of the New Hollywood, Raging Bull. How much did it cost to shoot the opening to Raging Bull? Fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's one shot and that fucking thing.
Yeah. It didn't cost nothing because they spent a bit of money on that Marley on the floor because there was not a fucking joint in it.
This movie, guys, don't look it up.
I'm not.
Guess the budget and guess how much it made worldwide.
I've already looked it up. Sorry.
Dave, give me a guess. Just for ballpark.
I would guess the budget is about 200,000.
Oh no!
What? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
there's so many visual effects in this. It's like, I would say maybe
Dave
maybe
had
3 mil.
16 buzzes, and we each have like 4.
All right,
I have one.
13. It's 13 million, which I still think is a very low budget. Those locations are not cheap, and all the visual effects that went into this, and the fact that it takes place in Lincoln Center, but it ended up making like 330. I mean, that ratio is fantastic, which I think speaks to the genre aspect of this. Do you guys remember the way that this was promoted? It's like a really intense psychological horror film.
Yeah,
like they wanted us to feel like it was Natalie Portman's horror film.
Yeah,
and I think not that I didn't enjoy it then, and not that I think it didn't. Obviously, it got a lot of attention then. But for me, this movie has aged well, getting away from the marketing of that, because I would not call this horror. I would call this like an existential thriller, like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Like there is something very disturbing, and there are some gross body horror moments for sure, which are super effective. But I don't know if I would call this. I think they stretched by calling it a horror film. I think some people who are like
there's one
horror fans,
one horror sequence in it, but apart from that, no, you're right.
And those elements are still so effective.
Although I do love
I wanted to bring
the way they throw you off balance by using the fact that the dance mirrors distort people. Because they do. And like the human brain is trained to recognize faces, but the faces in this, just because of the reflections, are slightly misshapen. And also, fucking hats off to the crew for not appearing in any of those mirrors once.
Dude, how much painting did they have to do for all of those rehearsal sequences?
Yeah,
in that studio.
Yeah, one of them, I'm pretty sure those mirrors weren't even there.
Also,
that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if that was a plate, if they threw that in like somehow later. How did they? I don't know how they did that.
They generally shoot it with like not even a green screen. Actually, they just shoot it. They make some poor fucking intern mat the guy out, but there's a separate camera behind where the mirrors would be, tracking with him for the reflection.
Wow. So again, super simple in concept.
A lot of other details. I'll only say some of them because I know you want to get into your segment here. That Angela is very distinct about. They did a lot of flipping. So in religious horror movies, they flip the cross upside down for the Satan, right, for the devil. I don't know if that's necessarily related to this, but for instance, the music box, like Angela's like, I had one, and it's usually the lady in like Arabesque doing a promenade. She's going the wrong way. She's going the other way. So those music boxes don't exist. So they re-rigged it to go the other way. Did I mention that? No. They just did it because obviously she's spiraling the wrong way or she's in reverse or whatever. A lot of images or pictures or paintings are flipped. Fun. A lot of images, they're flipped.
You're fired. Get her on the show.
I know. Actually, I've all the time said to her, this would have been the one. But yeah, there's like a lot of that, just details that nobody would know. But what we would know is that when you see her breaking ballet shoes or getting up on her sprung floor that she has in her room, that's nicer than most dance studios. It's like you know the authenticity, which is why people love like Center Stage. As cheesy as the plot may be, it's like you see it and you're like, that actually looks pretty fucking authentic. And this was the way.
You don't need a sprung floor. You just need an Astoria or apartment floor. Creak.
All right, John, go into your segment. Where do you want to take us?
It's not even a deep segment, but at one point over my education these past few years, I had to write a paper on some filmmaker that I kind of wanted to kind of emulate their career kind of thing. Someone that I looked up to. I love everything he's done in terms of like his own creativity, but he has, Protozoa, he has this good company. And I would love to emulate that as well. Doing some research on him when I was writing this thing, I saw this really interesting article and I was trying to fucking find it. I was going through my references and there are just too many. I was doing this like 5 minutes before the show. Somebody wrote this critical piece on this and The Wrestler. And they called it basically like his body torture films. And it was such an interesting... No body torture,
sure.
Well, it's different because these two movies are about somebody trying to achieve greatness by destroying themselves physically.
Yeah. Okay.
And I feel like there's... I know you're going to talk about like how you get to the ending. Like there is something very literal about it in The Wrestler, which has no horror elements, no deep, strange, surreal, psychological elements in the filmmaking or the story. It is totally grounded. This one does have those elements, but I think they both take you to this place, and both of those movies build to a climax and an ending where they're dead, right? Like they have achieved what they've wanted by actually destroying their vessel.
Actually,
and
it's funny you say they build to it, because did you notice the scenes had a rhythm where it started off at this pace and it finished at like this pace?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I mean, that's his shit, dude. He is like a rhythmic editor, and I feel like he designed sequences to be filmed and edited that way. But yeah, for sure. So I guess I just wanted to bring that up because I hadn't seen the movie again since writing that paper, and without a heavy hand, because of course the whole movie and every scene sort of deals with this, whether it's just theme and generally speaking, you feel this young woman pushing herself to the brink, or if it's in those great punch-in moments where you hear her bones cracking, when that masseuse was like, her hand was like inside her diaphragm. There's all these different ways.
That was Captain Phillips. That was legit.
Yeah, that was legit.
Therapist.
It felt like it was real.
I've had that done under here. Under that,
that's
muscle.
a terrible spot.
Yeah,
Did they get
there's no fucking happy place in the world can take you away from that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. So I guess I just wanted to kind of bring that up and see if you guys felt that was some of the more visceral moments for you watching her body get pushed harder and harder and harder. And did you feel like that ended up being cathartic by the ending? Because I feel like that's the whole intention of this piece. Did you feel her catharsis as she approached her breaking point? And was it worth breaking herself?
I feel like yes, and I feel like the ending could have been even more fucked up. I think I could have made it. I think it could have gone even more fucked up.
Absolutely does that too. It really breeds it. And if you're struggling to maintain that level, you will push harder and harder and harder. Like when I went through like theatre college, I was literally told, you be the best you possibly can, or there's going to be 5 other people standing out the door ready to do it for you.
Honestly, I think
it's incredibly competitive, and it's really, it fucks with your head.
I think it's tough. We got to be realistic with these conversations because there's also like a very obvious sexual assault. Whether or not she slept her way to the top makes you question, if it's her or Mila Kunis, if she was also Mila Kunis, if it was really just one person and she didn't exist, then that means she was actually sleeping with him and all that kind of stuff. So obviously it's hard to say like, you're right. Like in a way, maybe we've gotten away from that and maybe it would be good to go back, which is why just like happy campy jukebox musicals maybe are doing better than like Hamilton's obvious. You got to be brilliant to be in that show. Anybody who's seen that, you can't just be a decent dancer. You have to be able to hit those spots every fucking night. It gives me an absolute conniption nightmare to think about turning and spinning and handing this prop off and hitting your windows and not crashing into people. And it's fucking nightmare.
But also don't lose your spot in the rap.
With this, with the turntable. Yeah. But like, I don't hear about it as much anymore. And I feel like I hope we can still relate. I think we do, but I hope we still relate to it because I think that is what's so exciting about this is that it's worth it. In fact, she lost 20 pounds for this and I think she got injured a lot on set. Yeah. And people get injured in dance and people get injured on sets and stuff. And
what was the phrase?
Maybe she took it too far. So maybe she really did. She did it to herself. So we got to witness that.
They had Portman toe where they had to stop and wait for it to be like taped up and stuff.
Because
regularly. Yeah. That was the one they referred to it as.
The most visceral things for me was when they were ripping nails. Whenever her nails got there and they were like ripping nails.
Skin rip, fucking,
like, oh my God, that skin rip. Fucking hell. Oh my God.
Also, that guy.
So here's
that guy on the subway as well. Like, we've all met that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that scene is such a weird little throw in.
Yeah.
Like it's so, I think there's an importance there. I'm sure they talked about, maybe they, who knows. I could see somebody telling him, why is this in there? You should cut it. And he's like, no, I feel like I've been showing you sexual assault. I've been showing you how a woman sees herself, putting herself through this kind of damage to achieve beauty. And then you have this anonymous male older figure that is basically just like near masturbation on a train watching her, and they're totally alone. Like, I'm not even sure if he's real.
And her reaction is literally, yeah. And that's a good point. You don't know exactly at what point reality checks out in this movie. But like her reaction to him was to basically put the blinders on. It's like, he's not there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to react. So the
symbolism of, I mean, this is something that, I don't want to forget what I was about to say, that reminded me, nail clipping. This kind of movie, and I think a lot of backstage movies do this well, but I feel like with this movie, like, owns and is definitely, it's out in front and center, it's on the posters, you're supposed to be thinking about it the whole time. People who have never played a hardcore sport, danced, done anything that is really, really taxing on the body, don't understand that, like, to achieve really excellent form is agony on your body.
Oh yeah.
Tiger Woods has broken his back like 10 times from swinging a golf club as well as he swings it. Yeah. These ballet dancers, when you go watch them from a distance,
Marines training, that probably fucked him up.
Sure. These women and men look from a distance and they're in this kind of makeup and those kinds of outfits. It's pure beauty. They take off their clothes. The shot of the backs in this movie, the shot of the muscles, the shots of the feet that just show you like the disgusting truth of what it takes to actually appear beautiful is fucking, I don't know, he just fucking nailed it. And again, it never fell over the top. No. It just felt like punch in here, punch in there.
Well, and the dancer
rehearsal.
And I'm with Angela, and of course, and the person, and this always, I even asked, I'm like, I know I've been a part of this industry, in some way, shape, or form, but like, why is it that the choreographer isn't teaching her the dance? Why is this other woman teaching her the dance? Which is how it would be, like obviously the choreographer taught her this dance, who now is teaching them. Anyway, but that woman's back doing the swan moments, and you see her back, and it was like they were fucking wings, the muscles in her back. I was like not cringing, but I was just like in a different state. And Angela was like, what? And I was like, look at that back. And she was like, it's amazing, right? And I was like, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess when I thought of an amazing back, I don't think I would have thought of that. And she's like, that's decades of training to get that. And I was like, exactly.
I have to know, did she take exception to the very beginning when she stops and looks at the posters and she walks through the door into like the rehearsal studio? And did she, was that the moment where she kind of checked out a bit, because no dancer would ever turn up to a rehearsal with a bag that small?
Good point, Dave. Good point. Although I don't know how it is in ballet. With nowadays on Broadway, you have to show up with like 10 pairs of shoes, for everything. But they would have 10 pairs of ballet shoes. Yeah, you're right. They'd have different outfits and everything. You're right. That's a good point.
I've seen dancers turn up looking like a fucking pack mule.
And the tapping scene and how effectively he was tapping them. Yeah, for sure.
It's great. It's great. And I think Hollywood has done such a good job of showing backstage stories now that like there's a language that people kind of get, and he subverted it with the tapping scene, right? And there are things that people kind of pick up on. And anyway, going back to the physical, the body. It's not. I don't want to call it body horror, but whatever the physical, that body torture, that the thing that he's exploiting here, that eventually becomes mental.
Yeah.
I think the testament of how effective it is the first time. It's not the only time it happens in the movie, but it's the first time that you see it happen on screen. Is when her mother says, "You're scratching again," and starts clipping her nails, drags her into the bathroom. You are on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
When she is cutting her fingernails.
Yeah.
And just the idea.
Also, why is she cutting with those little scissors? Use fucking nail clippers like a human now. Those little scissors. We're in the 30s.
And that other scene where she's doing it herself and then just the finger, the face. Again, there's that one change. And it's like.
It's a shot. It's a single shot.
Yeah.
It's one shot where she's like, ugh, and then she like comes out of it and somebody says her name. And my God.
I must say.
The acting is amazing.
There's one thing I did giggle about. Because I never noticed it the first time, but when she's having what turns out to be the fantasy dream, where she's having sex with Mila Kunis, you can see the bird texture ripple up her legs and stuff like that.
Yeah. The scales,
now I've done texture composite overlays before, and you have to play them back again and again and again so many times to make sure the illusion sells. Imagine being the poor bastard working on that thing, and it's like, no, I'm not being a perv.
That poor bastard, Dave.
I'm not being a perv. I really have to watch this for 10 hours today.
I need to come back today. I'm sorry, honey, I'm staying late. It's like,
that's too bad for that guy.
Also, you're sitting there amongst your like men and women co-workers, and you're like,
right.
No, I have to do this. I'm sorry.
I know.
You need to have
we're joking.
I've had to do one where someone was supposed to walk through a party nude, and I had to paint the G-string out of their butt. And it's
fun.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have to sign a
Actors do not know that has to happen either. They think it's bad enough that it's being like edited. You're like, wait till you get to VFX.
Yeah.
They're going frame by frame for months.
And then you see the movie, and then afterwards you're like, wait a second, I was wearing a G-string in that. What?
Yeah. No, you weren't.
Did you have to sign paperwork for that? Like when you?
No, that was indie as fuck.
Wow.
Such an effective. Let's just talk about that sequence for a second. Staying with my whole low budget aesthetic thing. It starts at her apartment. Kunis is there in the hallway. They go have a drink.
Mom is
one
right
location.
on the other side of the door. Sorry.
Mom's right there. When they come back, one location they're drinking. One location they're dancing. Could have been the same. Who knows? I feel like that probably was an actual set. The bar, and then wherever they were dancing, and then they're just back. They're back home, and that feels. I remember the first time I saw it, and remember thinking like, "Oh my God, they're out in the town in New York, and they're doing all this." It's just two locations.
Yeah,
and it's just the writing is very succinct, and it's so effective, and because he basically has you so wrapped up in whether or not she's going to break free a little bit and cut loose, and the drugs come out, and
she starts taking Molly at 11 p.m. It's smart. The night before rehearsal. Yeah.
The night before tech.
It's your first day on stage.
Who hasn't dropped Molly the night before tech? Honestly, no.
How long? Couple hours. Okay, cool. I got a couple hours. What? Yeah. Oh my God. And she can't sleep. She has to go visit Winona Ryder.
What do you think about the lesbian sex aspect of it? I remember the first time I saw it, I remember thinking that maybe it was a little bit more literal. Like she was having trouble accessing her sexuality because maybe she actually was gay, and that there was something inside of her that had never really even explored that before. And now I don't think it's that. Now I think it's way more gray. And she was whoever had been in her bed at that moment, even if Mila isn't real, and we know she's probably not real, she kind of would have probably done it with anybody at that point. But it also made me think very specifically, and I think this is the first time I really heard this line. What's her troop leader's name? The great French actor.
The Vincent Cassel guy?
Yeah, Vincent Cassel. When he's dancing with her and then starts touching her and kissing her, and he's like, that was me seducing you. I need you to turn it on. That was the first time watching it that it did make me feel like even throughout that sexual sequence with Mila Kunis, that wasn't Natalie Portman driving any of that. And in my head, I think in the previous rewatches, I was kind of thinking, oh, she was breaking out more. This was the first time I really felt and saw the restraint. Like, she doesn't really cut loose right there. Her actual like breakout happens with anger toward her mother in the next sequence.
Yeah.
Right? It isn't in that crazy list of drugs and hookup sequence.
I think it was whatever was driving the Black Swan persona that she eventually adopts when it's like, it's my turn, this is my turn. I think she was just putting like Mila's or Lily's face on it.
Yeah, so the sex scene becomes a release after that. It's like, oh, yeah. Well, now I'm on the other side of it. You know, it's not the inciting incident or whatever. It's like,
because
it's not like, oh, maybe I'll have some sex and then it'll turn into this. It was kind of like, oh my God, well, I'm here now. Like, well, let's follow through since I'm already here. I think we don't know how we talk about the whole White Swan versus Black Swan and the mom that never got herself out of the chorus, but I think this is actually a pretty good segue that you did, because I think it really doesn't matter if she's real or not. It really doesn't matter if she was alone at home, playing little, just playing with herself, or if there was somebody else that she snuck home from this bar that she was at. Where did she get the drugs? All that kind of stuff. Whether you look at them, I feel like they all kind of carry equal weight. And so when I'm watching it, I'm like, yes, Mila's real. When I'm sitting back away from it, I'm like, no, she's definitely not real. And then when I'm farther away from it, I'm like, that was probably somebody else that she was imagining was Mila, but because whatever, it's real, but she's pretending like it's not real. She's pretending like it's this other person. It doesn't matter though. It's so cool. So it's so well done that's not really the point, because the whole time you know that it's really just about her psyche.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's hard to do in movies. It's just hard to follow through on someone's psyche, as good as they can be, as good as the director is. And I feel like they did it so well that I don't really care if Mila was real or not, or if there was somebody else.
I don't think there's a world in which she's not real. And we can enter this into the debate, but that character exists. She just doesn't necessarily exist in every scene you see her in.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's 100%.
And that's why it's so important. And that's why this isn't just a gotcha. She was never there the whole time. Bruce Willis was actually dead, right? It is totally fucking her actually in real life.
She's not schizophrenic.
No, she's not, which is why.
So she might be. But
coming off of what I was
not.
saying previously, like the actual breakthrough happens toward her mother. And then I would say climaxes when she murders herself, when she kills Mila. And then, that sequence goes right up into Black Swan, and you're like, holy shit. She comes back down and she's like, oh, there's still blood there. And then she answers the door and real Mila is there. Right? Yeah. That's a real interaction. I don't think that's in her head.
Yeah, no, totally.
But she answers the door and Mila's like, oh my God, you were great. I just wanted to say that. That is way harder to write and to film than I think people will give it credit for. I can't even think, I'm trying to think of another movie when it's used that often and that clearly with a main supporting character, and you're really not sure if they're real or not. A Beautiful Mind, does it, and then they tell you he's not real. So it's a little bit different, right? They're kind of doing the Sixth Sense thing there. This one never clarifies it.
What's interesting for me, though, like I was saying this before. Okay, how do I say this? I think the third act could have been more fucked up, if I'm being honest with you, because I'm with you. I think the best part of the movie and the climax for me is the Black Swan. And I think that's not surprising, but maybe it's somebody else's interpretation is different. The first act was fine. She was doing really well, but she couldn't quite let go, which is why she had one of the worst falls you would ever see in a professional ballet company. Like, it could be sloppy, but she fucking fell. I mean, people would have left at intermission. It was a night. That was, I can't believe they let her on for Act 2. I guess that's why that she was, anyway, that's why that happened in the movie. And then when so Black Swan, she was amazing. It was perfect. It was exactly right. And then in the dressing room, she sees Mila Kunis afterwards because she didn't actually kill her. And I actually thought, I was like, no, you let us off the hook. So for me, from there on to Act 3, I'll be honest with you. I feel like I could have felt like she was going to Valhalla more. That fall at the end seemed like she was falling on a mattress to me, and not like she was falling.
I've seen the behind the scenes.
I could have used something fucked up, like like blonde or something. I was ready for Act 3 to be the most euphoric, most just risky, fucking messed up shit.
I think that would have been
don't
too
think
far.
it did it for me. I could have gone further.
Did you want her to like cut her throat at the end of it?
No. I don't mean like that. I mean psychologically. I mean let go. I mean like on the verge of snapping an ankle because you're just so in your own euphoric world. The audience is gone. Like I felt like it was just like a good clean. Like she landed the plane. Like she already did her job and she landed her plane. That's what I think. And then at the fall at the end again, it just felt like she fell on. It just I know, but again, what's real and what's not in this movie? A stab wound is nothing compared to the fucking skin rip that I had before. And I know that she's going to die from it, but I could have used a more fucked up Act 3. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
What if? Let me ask you a question, because again, to try to keep it in the reality that he was playing with, I think very effectively up until that point. The only thing, because I know what you mean, dude. Like again, I've seen this 5 or 6 times, and like sometimes the ending really lands for me, and sometimes I want a little bit more. And part of me now feels that the element that might be missing, that would really connect that dot and make you feel like we still are on planet Earth, and this is happening. No longer in her head, it's now in her body, and she can't hide because everybody can see her. That final dance until she falls and you see the blood, it doesn't look like she's in pain. And
right,
part of me wonders, like, what if you had seen like fucking tears and how much it hurt to be perfect?
But she turned it into tears of joy or expression or something where you're like, oh, she's enjoying this. Maybe she didn't actually stab herself or something. Like, yeah, exactly. I that's what I mean.
I think that would have been insane if she had like even a shot in the wings and you see the blood and you're like, oh my God, is she going to do this? And she like goes out there and they could have done some sound design stuff with like maybe hearing just a little bit of her skin getting torn when she was doing certain movements and everything. Like that was the only thing that I feel like is missing. You see it in the dressing room and then it cuts to her basically entering that final sequence of the Black Swan.
And it seemed like it was just so obviously going to be good. It was going to be good. I feel like it could.
And I think that last moment of her saying it was perfect maybe would have hurt her and us more if she had finally found some relief by no longer moving, which I feel like would have been thematic of the story. She was no longer dancing.
I don't know. I mean, she
did it perfectly, and she's finally going to die in peace.
She forced herself to complete that routine with a literal stab wound. And
but you know what I'm saying, right? I wanted to see how much that hurt to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It doesn't hurt. They turn it all off. You don't see it.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they talked about this so much, and I'm sure they had decided that's the choice. Like, there's no way we can't show it. Like, she's got to be perfect. But sometimes I do wonder, like, would I hurt more if she hurt more? Would I be more grossed out if she was? Would I feel the same catharsis if I was like,
and I don't need to see her.
Oh my God, her guts are ripping apart.
And you notice it's like
that mattress scene. I watched the behind the scenes of them shooting it, and she's fully standing at that point. They're literally just moving the mattress up.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it's a great shot, but
it is. It's beautiful.
She's done totally standing.
It's great. That's it for me.
So
the mom relationship with her is fucked up. She treats her like a child. It's because they could go crazy with the mom. I thought that was the right touch. I thought everything was the right touch. I thought it was all that they could have gone further, and I thought it was so well done that it makes you want to rewatch it over and over again, and it's brilliant.
Winona, same deal with the mom and Winona. Like it's just enough.
Who forgot Winona Ryder was in this?
Yeah, did she kill Winona Ryder? It's like, I don't want to bury this conversation. Be like, do you think Winona Ryder actually killed her? It doesn't matter. I don't care. But it's like, God, it's so. When it happened, I was so riveted. Like if she actually killed
the fact that you're saying that. This is an aspect of this story that I feel like is fascinating. What you just said, whether or not it happened doesn't matter. If this was an insulated story about some suburban scenario, or the fact that it is so exposed, it's a performance. It's a performing art. That means that there's no way that she actually did that because she would be arrested for it. Like,
right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so like there's this thing that is happening the whole time. His entire presentation is on a proscenium stage, if you will. Like everyone can see and access these people. They're not invisible. So there's something so unique about that. He chose to try to play with whether or not this is happening, and like use people that are in the story when all these people are being seen by 100 other people that day on stage or back in the halls.
I shall say, like, I mean, like when I'm watching the movie, it's happening because I'm seeing it, and I'm gonna give that to the director. I believe it's happening because he's telling me. I mean, after the movie, back to our Shutter Island conversation before, why we do the setups for these movies where people are like, "Oh, it didn't have," and it's like, shut the fuck up. When you're watching the movie, your jaw was open and you were loving it because it was happening. You saw it. It was real. It's after the movie that you try to be clever about it. That's what I mean. I don't want to be clever about it. It was amazing. It was brilliant. It was
why are people trying to be clever about this shit all of a sudden?
All of a sudden.
Well, since the 90s.
Do you read the news?
I love Darren Aronofsky so much. I feel like when he's fired on all cylinders, he's one of the best of his generation for sure. What is your favorite, if you had to pick one, or just a standout moment? Natalie Portman acting, what scene really touched you this time where you were like, oh shit, like that was, she's so good?
I feel for me it was the transformation from White Swan to Black Swan, where she had the incident and then went on, and that first where he spins her out and she's full face at the camera with the eyes.
Yeah.
But it's the way she's carrying herself. It's a different fucking person.
I would have to say that too. And maybe that's the obvious choice, but I'll say I don't know if that was my choice the first time I saw it. But for some reason, seeing it this time, I felt like everything built to that.
Like I sat back involuntarily. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
What about you?
I think for me, this time what really touched me was when she got the part and she goes into the bathroom and calls her mom.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
For a less experienced actor that's not an A-list superstar since they're like 12,
right?
I would say that scene is probably a little bit more accessible, but like, she has I'm not telling Natalie Portman what she has and hasn't felt, but I mean, it's been a long time since she isn't at the top of a lot of people's lists. And she I believed every breath of that scene. And then coming out of it and seeing horror in the mirror and just going right back into stunted, prepubescent, freak out mental mode. Yeah. Like, how old is she supposed to be in this, by the way?
Oh, I asked Angela that. She was like, I think she's trying to be like 19.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would have said a little older, but
I was going to guess early 20s that acts like a teenager.
Yeah, I would have said 21. Like, but the mom,
she's like on the cusp.
Yeah.
Her mom did not look mid 30s or late 30s, which she would have been.
Right.
If she was still dancing, she probably would have been early 30s, right? And her mom looked.
Well, basically, she danced until she was 28, and then
her mom was 28 when she stopped dancing. So
she would have been 48.
28. So
because of her, and she blames
around 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, that moment really rocked my socks off, and so many others. That one that you mentioned in the mirror, Dave, because that's all one shot. When she's cutting herself and she has that, she leers at herself in the mirror and it disappears in me. It's just a moment. You can't direct. I mean, you can tell an actor to do that, but you can't you can't count on it being that fucking believable.
Right.
I'm willing to bet even he sat back and went, holy fuck, when that shot happened.
Yeah. I think this
it makes me think of it makes me think of the when Quentin Tarantino says sometimes you're looking through a viewfinder and it's a tiny little image and you're just waiting to see those dailies. When you look through your viewfinder and you see Brad Pitt on the screen, you're like, holy shit, we got a fucking movie. This guy's a fucking star. I bet you feel that way when Natalie Portman's doing anything. You're just like, oh my God, this girl is perfect. And she looks like that. It's just so fascinating.
Her going through the dark when they cut the lights out when she was rehearsing her own, that got me too. That was good. That was great.
The rehearsal scenes are
all of them.
Wonderful.
They were so well done.
Wonderful.
Kudos to everybody.
All right, we're done. Really good. Jesus Christ.
Amazing.
That was a really fun rewatch.
Yeah, it was.
Really
let's
fun.
do a quick cheers to us for that. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Black Swan. What a film, man. What a film.
Ooh.
All right, so that's a conversation about Black Swan. We got to go ahead and spin the wheel to see what we're doing next week. We can't just sit and sulk in it. We got to move on. So, Dave, are you ready to spin this wheel for us?
Oh, I have my finger on the fucking button.
All right, I was pretty close last time with the guess. John, what do you guess? You think we're going back in time?
I'm going 84.
Fuck, I was going to say 80s too. I'm going to say 80 on the dot. 80.
All right, here we go.
Raging Bull.
We're doing Raging Bull. We're doing it. 1, 9. 30s?
Oh my God.
I forgot we go back this far.
34, man.
This is going to be a quick conversation. We got 10 movies to choose from. All right, people, we're going back to 1934, but we're not going to tell you what we're doing to the very end of this episode. So stick with us through what you've been watching, and then we'll tell you what we're doing next week. Dave, we'd like to start with you. What you been up to? What you watching?
I actually went back because they released a lot of stuff that I want to watch, but I haven't seen it yet. But I went back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Disney.
Mm.
I forgot how fucking fun that was at the beginning.
Nice.
So
I think I watched the first season of that show.
Yeah, it goes off the rails somewhere, yeah. But I'm loving it. I'm working my way through the first season again. It's good. It's good fun.
That's awesome, John.
I have been watching That Last of Us. I put it off a week, so I watched both of the episodes last night.
Oh,
so
jeez,
last
you
night's
okay?
episode and the week before.
Happy Easter. Okay.
Episode 2 was a doozy, and I kind of can't believe they had the nuts to go there. But I'm saying that as somebody who, I didn't know the game. I don't know the game. So I didn't know what happens. That was really exciting. If I'm being totally honest with you, I think I'm not as excited to keep watching now that that's happened. I just don't know if I care that much.
I'm worried too, and I didn't even see the second episode because it was fucking spoiled for me twice by the same publication. But
it's a big show. I'll probably keep watching. But anyway, watch that. So a few nights ago, this is really fun. I think you're both going to really like this. Elizabeth and I started making a bunch of cocktails for us, and we were laughing a lot. And we started quoting some movies and started talking about like Will Ferrell from back in the day. So we double featured, literally press play immediately afterwards. We watched Old School and then Wedding Crashers back to back.
What?
Like immediately while we were nice and tipsy. It was really fun. We laughed a lot. Both of those movies are still so fucking funny, dude. When is the R-rated comedy going to come back strong? That shit was so enjoyable. Anyway, all right.
I must not have watched much. I went back for Easter, of course, and then I saw a show, I saw a musical. I'm trying to think. I think I talked about Dying for Sex last time I saw you, but I finished it this past week, and I still think it was a great show. Kudos to Jenny Slate and Michelle Williams; they were amazing. Let's see, what the fuck else? And I watched The Last of Us first episode. Nothing fantastic on top of that. I'll just stop it there. I can't remember. Fuck it.
Good times.
Great. More movies coming up this week. All right. And my birthday's coming up but whatever. Let's go ahead and take our break. 10 seconds of dollar sign coming your way, and then we're going to tell you what movie we're doing next time from 1934. Stay with us, film fans. And we're back. 1934. What an interesting year. John, you mentioned the year of the first ever Academy Awards, which was won by not our movie that we're choosing.
Because we would never do that.
Because technically 35 is the first Academy Awards for the 34 years.
Yeah, that's how we got to do it. That's how we have to do it. Yeah, no. We are doing another popular movie that I feel like the title most people have heard, but maybe you haven't seen the movie, The Thin Man.
Nice.
Which is not about any of us in our age.
Not the Slender Man.
Not the Slender Man. Yeah.
Not the Slender Man. We're doing The Thin Man. I can't wait to talk about it with you next week. This is a renter, but it's also a classic. So go to the fucking Criterion collection. The Criterion truck. What is that called? Where they have all the fucking movies?
The Mobile Closet.
Yeah. It's coming near you in LA soon, John. You gotta go.
I know. If only I had a DVD player.
I would get
What's
your Blu-ray.
DVD player?
Pretty cheap.
Exactly.
Fuck everybody.
Look it up on Amazon.
See you next week, film fans.
Peace.
Thin Man.